Hey, Katie.
Hey, Jake. I'm glad this intro's back. It's been a while. We had a couple really interesting ones.
We have a request for an intro.
Oh, yes, we do.
Do we?
Typewriter all the time.
No, different.
Oh, okay. I got that request.
Yeah,
What
we
request
we
did
have
you
to
get?
talk. We have to. The intro is like, I'm gonna do my best impression of the person. Say
Me?
it wasn't you. I'm gonna say, how do I do this? I really like consistent intros. I like them. So we should do
I told you. It's like comforting, like a warm blanket.
like a warm blanket. Some people like the same thing. I like change. Change is a warm blanket. So here, that was your intro.
Change is a warm blanket. You just like new blankets.
Yeah,
You like trading out your blanket for a new one every day.
not every time.
Okay.
Only when another blanket catches my eye. Oh, you look warmer and fuzzier.
See you later, old blanket.
Yep. By the way, folks, we have the dogs again this episode.
Yeah.
They have another play date right now.
Suddenly, Katie and Jake decided doggy playdates were the perfect thing for their podcast recording.
Yes. Yes. So when you're done listening to us, you can listen to dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the book today, Jake?
It's called The Mistress by the author PA Stockwell.
And you hinted in the last episode that it had something to do with AI
Yep.
and that you... Did you say it wasn't for you?
AI is not my favorite thing.
Okay. Do you have the cover of this book for me to look at?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I guess I better get that up here.
You better get it up. Hurry up before there's awkward pauses in the audio and then people wonder if we're still recording or if their headphones have paused the audio while you look it up. Because otherwise they may click off of this and by the time that you pull it up, they're no longer a listener. They've moved on. What is a not listener? Is that like someone... Do they exist?
You know, I zoned out of that, and then I came back in when you were like, what is a not listener? And that was pretty funny.
Yeah, a podcast listener pauses the video. Do they make a sound? Nope. I guess it
Nope.
was silent.
All right, so I got the cover up here.
Okay.
It looks like a... Well, I mean, it's...
Let me tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you the story. And then we'll talk about what that looks like.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
I love supporting local authors, creators, businesses, coffee shops, sandwich shops, juice shops, candy shops.
What other kind of shops? Movie theaters?
They're all great.
Okay.
So I like local a lot. Love it. And I've purchased local books,
Yeah.
books from local authors in the past.
Did you buy this one?
I bought this one.
Okay.
So I was at a place where the author was. And I walked up to the booth and I was like, let me look at these covers. And so I found, and the guy starts talking to me. I met this guy. Starts talking to me and, he's like, hey, AI is bad, okay? And I said, probably. And so we really hit it off. And I saw a book that he was selling that had a really cool cover of like people walking through the desert. And he's like, oh, that's the sequel to this book.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, dang it. I didn't like the cover of this book. I like the cover of the other book.
I see.
But after having read the book, I understand exactly why this cover is the way that it is. By the way, readers, this book's cover is sort of traditional white attractive woman, I would say. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that it looks like the image of what we would perceive as the typical, like the stereotypical pretty white woman.
Yes.
Except, I think that the stereotypical pretty white woman has blonde hair. I'm not
We've
sure.
moved on
I
from
think
that.
that's garbage.
Yeah, all y'all with blonde hair need to change it to brown.
Do what makes you feel pretty. But this woman has brown hair, which I've always
Do what
very
society
much
tells you.
Honestly, I think the woman on this cover is very attractive, but I have a feeling that she's not real. Something
What
about
do you
her
mean
eyes.
by not real?
Her eyes look robotic almost, like And I don't know, I don't have a big enough picture to tell if that is intentional. They're like a very, yeah, they don't look real. So her, obviously, like, well, first off, she looks touched up. Like
Yeah.
the picture is like a touched up.
It's like blurry almost.
Right. But the eye color just seems a little unreal. I guess as an artist who likes drawing eyes, I'm like, something is off about the eyes.
I think it would surprise you to know this is a headshot from a real person.
Is it really?
I have no idea.
I'm so sorry if you're out there. I mean, she is gorgeous, and I think the eyes are very beautiful, but there's just something
You're
different.
definitely stuck on the eyes.
Yeah, I'm definitely stuck on the eyes in this picture.
Yeah.
And it says The Mistress, a novel, and she's got beautiful hair. And
What do you think this book's about?
So when I look at the cover and I have no other information, and I see the title, my first thought is a mistress. It's about somebody's mistress.
Like a sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like or, you know, sometimes affairs happen with emotional stuff.
Right.
So, you know, but, you know, given that they made her just incredibly enticing on the cover.
Right.
And I do like, actually, on the cover that it's not like, you can only see from not even elbow up.
You can't see her boobies.
Can't see her boobies, right? She's gorgeous. Can't see her boobies. There's no, like, be attracted to the
Right.
cleavage, take advantage of the fact that women have boobies and make
Yeah.
it be on the cover and try to draw you into the book with with boobies.
Right. Or like, you know, the underwear that goes from like the crotch to your shoulders.
That stuff is so weird.
Who likes that? Anyway, if you like that, please send us an email.
Don't.
Add a comment to where we want to know why entire body V underwear is attractive. Is it pointing to something? Are you supposed to follow the lines?
It's probably something like that. It might give you a front wedgie too.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, moving on.
Back to the
from
book.
That. So
Yep.
yeah, I would think, looking at it, that it would be about an affair
You're
of
totally
some
right.
sort.
Totally right.
But then you told me it was about AI. And so now I'm wondering if this is an AI woman and that's the affair that the person is having is with an AI character. Like, remember in Big Bang Theory when...
Nope, never watched it.
Oh.
I don't like those types of shows.
Oh, those are some of my...
Way too real for me.
What? It's comedy!
It is social anxiety. Head sand. Put it in there.
It's
Shove it in the sand
comedy.
and just shove it in the sand.
Oh my god.
It's not comedy, okay?
Anyway.
Those people are having like real social interactions that are incredibly anxiety inducing.
Okay. Well,
So anyway, back to this book.
So Raj has it reminds me with a combination of you telling me that there's AI as a topic in this book and the looks of the woman on the cover, I would suspect that this book is about an affair with an AI because it reminds me of the episode of Big Bang Theory where Raj was really into Siri.
Okay.
Yep.
So this book is about CG. CIGI.
Not CGI.
No, interesting.
Oh, CG.
CG. CG is the main character of the book.
Oh.
And she is a woman
Okay.
who you learn quickly is a robot with AI brains.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And the book is warning you about AI
Yeah.
through story. Mm-hmm. So CG goes from powerful man to powerful man. She's controlled by the company like in quotes, like the man, right?
Uh-huh.
The company is the big bad. Mm-hmm. Where she's controlled by the company and she's supposed to bed these men and make them do what the company wants.
Ew.
Manipulation of
Yeah.
like global energy and money and everything, right? So CG is sort of this woman that has AI brains, very realistic body, I think it's described as like the perfect woman. Someone creates the perfect woman from their perspective. And the way that it's kind of comical, the way that she's betting these men.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not cheating on your wife if I have sex with you and you learn stuff and take it back to your wife. Let's go do it and then talk about global energy crisis, right? And it's also not like, it's also super easy to get in a dude's pants if you meet them at like a diner and talk about something that they like. And then even if they're married, they'll go back to your hotel with you. And instead of having sex with them, you'll implant memories of having sex with them. And then you'll implant chips in their brains so that you can control them.
Is that what she's doing?
That's what she's doing.
Whoa.
So CG is going and implanting chips in brains of humans that are not AI. And she can control them through telepathy.
This is giving me like a mix of Westworld and Severance vibes.
I don't know what either of those are. Sounds good.
Fiction.
I still don't know what either of those are, even though you said the word fiction.
I'm just saying you don't have to be, you don't have to avoid it if it's fiction.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
That's like a warning. It's like our safe word. Fiction.
Yes.
Jake, you could look at that movie. It's fiction. So anyway, story progression is interesting. She is going from man to man, sort of seducing them. And then one of the men is reprogrammed after he gets a chip in his brain. And he's like, I know you implanted a chip in my brain, so you're going to do what I tell you, because otherwise you're not going to have my money anymore. And then CG's like, oh no, what will we ever do? And so they like go on this big adventure to try to like regain control of whatever the company is trying to gain control over. I think it's like global energy and stuff.
So she goes on his side.
She kind of like undercover.
Okay.
She goes on his side for a little while, like, oh, I'm such a victim. You're so much smarter than me. And then later she's like, bam, just kidding. We're smarter than you. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different characters, mostly people she's seducing for like the first half of the book, which is interesting. And then the second half of the book is about breaking away from the company.
Okay.
So at some point she starts to develop emotions. Like she's actually becoming human, more human, right? So she's progressively increasing in her humanity. Humanity? Yeah, she's gradually increasing in humanity throughout the story, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the robots that are around her, she starts to reprogram as well to have like more humanity.
Huh.
So now there's like a bunch of robots that are more advanced than they were originally because they were around her. Which was also really cool, like a cool, I mean, that's true, right? Computers program computers type of deal.
Yeah.
Right? And they go on this adventure to break away from the company that's sort of controlling them because now they're sentient and they want sort of freedom, right? She falls in love with a human.
Is it the same guy or a different?
Different guy.
Okay.
Yeah, different guy. But, they end up going to jail because of something the company did. And the government is trying to pin what the company did on them. Right, it's sort of like that double cross, the double cross, and then a triple cross, double cross, which was all pretty cool. And at the end of the book, they were able to escape the company, but they weren't able to get the antagonist, which was the brother of the original AI robot creator.
Okay.
And so the brother is like creating less sophisticated robots than the guy that's like creating the robots that are optimal, right? So anyway, the brother gets away and they're like, we need to go to Arizona. And so that's sort of the end of the book. And I think that's probably why there was a picture of the desert on the sequel.
Probably.
Because they're in Arizona or something.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So earlier I think you said the point of this book was to try to scare you from AI, right?
Yes.
Now after hearing the plot, is the fear that AI will become sentient and or try to take over humans? Like, is that the main fear that is being
This might be a
admitted
warning.
in this book?
This might be a warning to men.
Not to mess around with AI women?
Wear a chastity belt.
Wait, I feel like I'm going back to our Puritan episode. What was it? Slewfoot.
Slewfoot. Yeah. I would say there was some really cool concepts in this book. And I agree with the author that once we perfect plastics, right? Once we perfect robotics, once we perfect AI, there's nothing, we will create a species.
Yeah, probably.
100%. Yeah. I don't know that the species looking like a human would actually matter.
Right.
Because it doesn't. Robots don't care if they look like humans, right? Robots just want to be successful in what they think that they need to do. Mm-hmm. But I would say one of the things that I really didn't like about this book was the whole premise, the risk of this specific use of AI, of the Mistress, is that men can't keep it in their pants if the woman's hot enough and talks to you about what you're interested in, even if you're married. Because it was wild. She shows up at a cafe. She talked to some dude. She's like, we should go back to my crib. And he's like, I'd love to talk about foreign energy with you. And then they go up to her crib, which is very lavish. And she poisons him. And he lays in bed and thinks that they had sex.
So, I mean, basically, a female serial killer would be a nightmare for men.
In this universe.
In this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the whole
premise is kind of like...
The whole premise is...
Yeah.
If you can keep it in your pants, then the robots won't put chips in your brain.
Yeah, that seems like a faulty premise.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you go beyond that premise, it's neat. It's fairly close concepts to... It's a rational fear to have, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Although I think me and the author share conservativeness with reading romance, because there's a huge opportunity in this book to talk about like robot sex, right? But it wasn't. It was described as romping.
Like they went and had a romp in the hay.
Yes, exactly. You're like, oh, CG and the character that she was bedding romped, and then fell asleep, and then they woke up, romped again, took a shower, and then left.
So it was not a smut book.
It was specifically not a smut book, unless, hey, listeners, romp. Oh, so good.
I mean, in a previous episode, we somehow got onto the topic of attraction to doors.
It's true. Yep. I've met someone that knew a smut book that was about doors.
I was about to... for some reason, my brain was about to hear, yep, I know somebody who's attracted to doors.
Well, I don't know. I didn't ask them.
Right,
Yeah.
true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why were you reading that smut book about doors?
Right.
Right. Anyway, so this book...
Yeah, this book. I'm stuck on that. I think that's sort of disenchanted me from the story a lot. But I think between that, like the fact that if men wear chastity belts, then the world is safe from AI as a premise, right? One of the premises sort of prevents me from getting engrossed in the book.
Yeah.
I liked that it wasn't smut, but I know that this had a lot of opportunity to be smut and could have probably been a very successful smut book, because you've got the perfect woman that's a computer and knows everything.
Yeah.
So wonderful, right? But the rest of the story was pretty cool.
Was there more to the story?
Yeah, kind of. It's sort of like that 007 Mission Impossible. Sort of, we have to save the world, and there's obstacles in our way, right? So
Gosh, this reminds me so much of Westworld.
Don't know what that is, but it's fiction. So, for example, they get on an airplane and they're flying to Seattle so that she can buy an apartment in Seattle, and someone had put gasoline siphoning caps on the fuel tanks, So they had to make an emergency landing somewhere and then refuel and take those caps off and then get to Seattle. And they don't know why they were delayed, right? Like who was after them? Who is the antagonist, right?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of sort of obstacles along the
Adventure
way.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, there was a scene where they were in jail and they're being sort of traditionally investigated, right? Like good cop, bad cop, swinging light over the table type of deal.
Is that real? Listeners, if you're out there and you've been arrested or been in one of those investigation rooms, like, is there really a swinging light like that? I'm just curious.
Bonus points if you email us and tell us why you like the underwear that goes to your shoulders.
Jake will answer that email. I'll ignore it.
I recently got access to our email.
Yes, you did.
And we organize our inboxes different, so we need to talk about it.
Oh, I didn't organize that one yet.
I can tell. So
When I worked, I did have a very organized inbox. Like I would move everything into different folders so that my inbox would remain at 0.
Yes, I do the same, except I archive everything because the search function is better than labels.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to technology. There was a scene where there was a detective swinging light, bad cop, good cop, and the creator of the robots and the robot that he made for him specifically, right? He made a sex doll basically, but she's intelligent, so she's not a sex doll. She's a person, but she has no emotion, which makes her perfect for him because he created CG who does have emotions, but he didn't give his sex doll emotions yet, and his sex doll is jealous about that, but has no emotions, which is a little bit.
How can she be jealous?
It's oxymoronic. It's a little bit oxymoronic. Like, how could she be jealous or irked or upset about not having emotions?
Right.
If she has no emotions.
Right. I mean, essentially, she does have emotions.
But the author specifically says
maybe he's gaslighting her.
Claire has no emotions. Anyway.
So
those two are being investigated for the heinous crimes of the company, and they're innocent. And so CG shows up, and she's a badass lawyer because she's artificially intelligent.
Yeah.
Which, at some point, we have to say artificially is sort of overused,
no longer
right?
Applicable.
She's intelligent.
Right.
I think anything artificial intelligence is probably a misnomer. It'll probably be replaced later when we start to include other species as intelligent, even if we create them.
Yeah.
But she comes in, she's like a badass lawyer.
It's like manufactured intelligence.
Yeah, manufactured intelligence, right? But if you're a creationist, then are you not manufactured intelligent?
Ooh. I like that.
Checkmate. Are we not artificially intelligent?
Right.
Yeah. We're created in someone else's image, just like CG.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, she's a badass lawyer.
Yeah.
Because she's all powerful and knowing, right? Because of her intelligence and her ability to hold emotion. And that was a cool scene, because if you ever feel in those scenes where the person is trapped and like being investigated by the bad cop, and there's being pinned on them, right?
Yeah. She
just shows up, she busts the doors open, and she's like, "I'm their lawyer, get out." And the cop is like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "Nope, law number 1, 2, 3. And then the investigator's like, well, let me go talk to the supervisor. And CG's like, "No, because of law 4, 5, 6. And so like they get out, that was a cool, I honestly really like that scene. But the other difference, and this is why I go to the whole creationist thing.
Yeah. The
other difference here is CG's unique ability to get pregnant.
Whoa.
So
what?
CG is unique because she can hold emotion and she can get pregnant. She's the perfect woman.
How is that? Wait, how?
Can she get pregnant? Because she has fabricated parts. So they fabricated a uterus. They fabricated the fallopian tubes. They fabricated the ovarian.
How do they get the eggs to just like continue to show up?
I mean,
she must have a whole endocrine system.
I mean, if you assume they continue to show up and they're not just incubated perfectly, I don't know. I don't know enough about female anatomy to know how you would fabricate.
She just has hundreds of eggs in each ovary. They're just there.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But she can get pregnant. And at the end of the book, that was sort of like what happens is she falls in love. And then the guy's like, what's wrong? You're not eating. Are you sick? And she's like, no, I'm not sick. I'm pregnant. And he's like, wow. And then that's like the last page. By the way, when I said the perfect woman, I was being satirical.
Right. I mean, I feel like that is one of my... I don't read smut, really.
Okay. I've read one smut.
Yeah, I've read...
And it was an accident.
Ironically, I think my grandmother gave me a couple smut books, but they were like Christian smut, and I was...
You talked about this before.
On the podcast?
I don't know what we record anymore.
I don't think I talked about it on the podcast. It was one or two of the only smut books I've read, and I was really probably too young to read them, but one of my biggest complaints is that even in the books that aren't smut, like Hunger Games, for example, the book you just read, I'm trying to think of other examples, and none of them are coming to mind at the moment because, of course, I'm on the spot. But the point is...
Shadow Ninja Killer?
Did that one have a pregnancy?
Oh, no pregnancy. Okay, you're talking about pregnancy smut.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just feel like a lot of the books that I have read that involve a female character that falls in love when it's unexpected. In your situation, it's an AI that falls in love somewhat unexpected.
Right.
Has a baby.
Right.
Hunger Games, like, I mean, you expect her to fall in love. She's human.
Oh.
But at the end of the book, like, they do all this, like, and then the end of the book is like, and she had a baby because they fell in love. And then the other books I read, they fell in love, and then the last scene is she's pregnant.
When you wish it on a star. Yeah.
Right, like that bothers me because it just like reiterates that when women fall in love, they should want to have a baby. Let's
talk undertones for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not like the undertone of this book, where it talks about CG is the perfect woman because she's artificially intelligent. She can hold reason and emotion at the same time. She can give birth, right? Mm-hmm. Very logical, extremely attractive, doesn't need to eat a lot, right? In my opinion, I think that's trash.
Yeah.
It's the objectification of women.
It is.
Which is trash.
Right.
Stop doing it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Katie. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I did say she looked very attractive.
Yeah. Well,
but she does.
But that's not... Okay, anyway.
Anyway, it's different. Totally different.
Yeah, because Katie said it. So... But that's... I think... talk about disenchantment, right? Men can't keep it in their pants.
Right.
And the perfect woman is created. Right.
There's something I want to say, but I think I'm going to just save it for off recording.
Why don't you just say it?
I can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I mean, I'll just say it and I'll cut it out.
Listeners, I get to know what Katie said.
Okay, Jake, that was my secret. We're moving on. Or what I was going to say that nobody
Wow, you guys missed out so much. That was such a great secret. I wish you all knew how great of a secret it was.
Join our Patreon. Maybe you'll find out.
That's a good idea, actually. Give us your money to find out Katie's secret. The top bidder, we keep all the bids, but only the top bidder gets to listen.
Right, because Patreon is a auction.
I don't know.
That's hilarious.
Email us your money. We'll keep it. And if you're the one that gave us the most money, we'll send you the sound bite of Katie's secret.
We do have it on recording.
We do have it on recording.
We do.
For now.
Till
we email it to you, and then you have it on recording.
But I'm the editor. It might go missing.
You might get a sound bite with some other secret.
How would you know?
Yeah, how would you know? This is fantastic. This is a good business model.
You can become part of our mystery secret class on Patreon. What are those categories called?
It's $1,000 a month. You get
every month you get
unedited mystery secrets.
That's actually not a bad thing.
Yeah, we got to start somewhere, right? I think $1,000 is a good starting spot.
Yeah. low barrier to entry there.
Yeah. Yep. And then, $1,500 and you get first access to merch. Per month.
For some reason, merch is worth more than secrets.
Yeah. Well, it's first access to merch. Not you still have to buy the merch, but you get to buy it faster than everybody else.
And for more money.
So anyway, where were we?
Okay, so
Perfect women.
yeah, I just think that something very interesting about our last two, like this episode and the prior one that we did, are just like similar themes of, at least the author's points of view, similar themes of what could happen if we do this thing.
So very strongly agree with you.
Yeah.
I would say, and this is a little bit paranoid of me, that atomic bomb creation, everyone understands the impact of atomic bomb creation at this point.
I would hope so.
Yeah, because big boom, twice.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the impact of AI
Right.
yet. And it's sort of just like atomic bomb. Everyone's racing to do it. Nobody really knows the outcome.
Right.
Right?
How can we?
How can we? So I'm sure, just like the atomic bomb, there'll be some good. Mm-hmm. Like we have energy, a clean energy source that's very dangerous. With AI, we'll make the world more accessible because of language barriers and stuff. That's how we use it at work. People that are not native English speakers can now write documents in native English, right? And it reads as if someone wrote it in native English, which is great.
That is,
Like it's totally lowering the barrier. That's equity and equality and everything, right? But there's some huge negatives.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you even need to ask the right to document? You don't. Because some AI is going to talk to some other AI, and they're going to start writing documents for each other. In fact, why even talk document? It's the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
There's such an infinite number of possibilities to consider with this thing. Mm-hmm. And I think I agree with the author. There's risks. Mm-hmm. We need to be cognizant of those risks, move slowly with policy. But the problem is you have different countries with different policies all racing for AI.
Yeah.
Just like the atomic bomb. So luckily right now there's no physical war or cyber war, but there's no physical war.
Well, not with us and somebody else, but
of course.
But there is physical war right now.
Yes, I mean with the United States.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. For us, literally you and me.
Right.
Right. There's no physical war, but there are cyber wars, right? And so AI is going to be used in cyber warfare. And what does that mean? You're going to have an AI that's programmed for cyber violence.
Ooh.
Because we embed our biases into AI. So hang on. Going back to what we talked about in the previous episode.
Yeah,
the atomic bomb episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm over here thinking about it.
We are instinctively going to put our violence and our need to fight into AI.
And it's going to learn that.
And it's going to learn that. It's going to think. It doesn't know what to think. You just tell it what to think, right? At least initially. So you've got a bunch of violent computer programs. They don't need bodies. I don't buy the whole needs to look like a human thing. No, they don't need bodies. They have the internet.
Right.
Which controls everything. Power, lights, food, water. Everything's controlled by the internet. So you're putting violent, incredibly smart creatures, better at some things than humans, into the same infrastructure that controls the systems that help us, right?
Yeah.
And the systems that hurt us, like launching nuclear weapons, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm very nervous about where we're going with AI.
Yeah. I think that those are all real concerns. And then you also have I think those are some of the long-term concerns that we should be thinking about. And I think forefront in the mind right now in a lot of people is copyright issues and what happens to all the things that humans created and people taking advantage of AI to make money off of somebody else's creation and those things are all important too. It's a big deal.
Yep.
You're potentially disenfranchising artists and writers and all sorts of people. Yep. And how do we make sure that this is used for good? And can we even control whether or not it's used for good? Because it's going to learn itself. The dogs are popping off. The dogs are very upset about this issue, just like we are.
Yes. Apparently.
Yeah.
It's the Basset Hounds. Listeners, if you've never introduced a baying basset hound into your flock of dogs. What are they called? Pack of dogs?
Pack.
Yeah. You should, because you'll hear noises you've never heard before. Both of my 12-year-old dogs, who have never howled in their life, are howling at home now because of this little basset hound puppy. Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper got the other one. Started on howling.
Yeah.
But he doesn't howl right. He howls wrong.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Have you ever heard him?
No.
He goes, so Cooper goes, ooh, and he starts like howling in his high-pitched dachshund howl.
Yeah.
And then Otis eventually chimes in his low pit bull tenor, and he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And it is so horrible. And he sounds hoarse in between it. Like, you just feel like he's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. Every time we hear it, we can't do anything but laugh at him because it's just like, that's wrong, bud.
Yeah. This Chopper's howl is perfect because he's bred.
Because he's a basset.
Yep. And Timber's howl is more like a hyena's laugh. Right? Like, yeah, right? And it's kind of, he's doing it wrong, right? But maybe I'll practice with him. We'll see.
Please send me a video of you practicing with them.
And
hey, that
for the
could be one of our...
$2,000 per month Patreon subscription, you'll get one video of a dog trying to howl.
Oh, I thought it was going to be of you howling with the dogs. Is that the $5,000 level?
Honey, I'm worth more than $5,000. People want to see me. They need to pay way more than that.
But it is interesting where like the last two books are covering this very similar like mindset.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, we're as a species. You talk about the quote from the other author, person, whatever, scientist.
It's Oppenheimer that quoted that.
That said, any other intelligent species have blown themselves up. Oh yeah, we're going there.
Yeah.
We're totally headed in that direction.
I find it very interesting. Like, did you like this book? Don't answer that. So, I find it very interesting that you read this because you're very much like, I don't want anything to do with reality. And this book is very much like, here's a real issue that is very timely in the present and is a real thing that you deeply care about and are concerned about. And it does not allow you to put your head in the sand. But in the last episode, you were like, everybody keep your head in the sand. This episode, you're like, everybody needs to understand the consequences of what this could do.
No.
So it's funny. It's funny that you're like...
You misunderstand.
You know, okay.
So here's
how do you feel? How do you think that everybody should
I was
feel?
swindled into reading this book. I liked the book with the people walking in the desert. It would have been about the same thing. But I would have stopped reading this book if not for this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, listeners, if I pick up a book, I have to finish it. That's my own rule, right?
Okay.
Because books have redeeming qualities, even if you want to put your head in the sand.
Yep.
Okay. So you're misunderstanding the duality of Jake in the situation.
Got it.
So, first off, everyone, go put your head in the sand. There are people that choose not to, that need to heed warning and slow down. Me, I'm not one of them. My head's in the sand.
But then you're reading this, so you would have put it down.
I would have put it down.
You would have been like, this is too triggering, I'm not
I
going to read it.
think as soon as she bedded the first man that had a wife, I would have put it down.
Okay.
Because the excuse, like the reason that she said,
This is so
this
dumb.
is the dumbest reason.
Yeah.
I will teach you how to have sex better than you are now so you can satisfy your wife.
Yeah, that's such
And he was like, cool beans, sounds like a good deal. It's not cheating if she gets pleasure too, right? Wink, wink. Has sex with CG. CG actually doesn't actually have sex with him. CG poisons him, implants memories of how to have sex, and then he goes and beds his wife. It's like, bro, you fucked up. You made a bad choice.
Right. But are characters in books allowed to make bad choices?
Okay, I think that once there is infidelity involved, I'm no longer interested in a book.
Wow.
I hate it. Infidelity is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know, though. So,
Yeah.
like, if you pick up a book and you're reading it and it has nothing to, like, infidelity is not the main topic, but it comes up in the book, you're like immediately
done.
like, I'm
Checking
not gonna
out.
do it. Wow.
Yeah, I had a really hard time. There was this show about a blind woman who was a detective for murder. And she cheated on, or the guy, it doesn't matter. There was infidelity involved.
Yeah.
And I never watched another episode.
Wow.
Hate it.
That's a big trigger for you.
It's not, I would not use the word
Call it
trigger.
trigger. So what is
It's a big pet peeve for me.
When they include infidelity in books or when people commit infidelity?
Both.
Okay.
Yep.
Why don't you like it included in books?
Because they always try to fucking justify it.
Well, that's what people do in real life.
I don't care. My head's in the damn sand. I don't need to read about people cheating on their fucking wives, okay? I don't need to hear
You're like,
their
I don't
husbands.
need that reality in my life.
I don't care. I don't need to see it. I don't need to hear it, okay? Let's go back to, like, there was a unicorn and it ran across a rainbow, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's a unicorn and a rainbow. Both things don't exist. Rainbows aren't real.
That was a very welcome to Night Vale thing to say. Just, if you know, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else about this book? I'm proud of you for reading it all the way through, even though it had infidelity in it.
Yep.
I'm just going to leave that. Whatever.
Just leave the whole thing.
Forget it.
For our 6-hour episodes,
Yeah.
it's $6,000 per month Patreon. I feel like this is a reasonable price to pay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
$6,000 a month.
Yep. Once we hit our first million, we'll throw ourselves a party.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Once we hit our first billion, Katie and Jake will run for president. Co-president. President.
I don't know about that.
Katie, Jake, president 2024.
Yeah, we'll hit $1 billion before that.
I mean, we're getting close.
So close.
Yeah.
But we'll get closer if you share this with a friend, listener.
That's right. Share with 10 of your friends. Otherwise, your grandmother's best friend will haunt you forever.
Help us reach critical mass.
Please.
What's our next book, Jake?
It's yours. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Iceberg.
Yeah. It's not Iceberg. No, it's not Iceberg. It's Icebound.
Oh.
Shipwrecked at the Edge of the World by Andrea Pitzer. I guess we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.